I hate doing this, but a lot of people are slow. So I just want to realign people's perspective so you understand why I'm making the decisions I'm making. You're going to see the world right now. I was doing it like with my life, but the universe is going to reveal itself and why you shouldn't just go off a piece of paper. So like you want to make a decision based off you surviving. So like the universe right now is more like the island or more like the law of attraction, where it's like, you know, you're going to say go be waste management for the money, but it's like if there's sickness because of survival, which means, you know, living things or bacteria need to survive, or hosts or parasites or whatever it is, or things are moving and therefore they're transmitting, or they're, you know, people are moving and they're bringing their animals here, they're transmitting stuff, or things are now like having sex, or animals are having sex with new species to survive because there's nothing else available, like the reality of like moving into land and all this stuff and running out of space. So if you look at my decisions in music, people were worried about whether or not people are staying. Because this is the real world where there's one truth, where it's you do it right the first time, you're going to see why doing the right thing makes you more money. What does this mean? People are basically criticizing me, and I'm going to bring it up to people and why you shouldn't win, why I do not care. Before I do music, I had the decision in life to basically do falsettos. The type of music I'm making is not the type of music you make when you're afraid. This is the type of music that you're making when you're brave and you don't care what people think. Why? It's very easy for people to hide behind a cloak of vibrato or masculinity, or varying into like toxic masculinity. I made music that I knew would make the most amount of money. I know Drake does it, but if you look at why Drake makes a lot of money, it's because of his initial decision. So if you look at my decision is based off of involuntary response, and ultimately you're going to see people stay involuntarily. Why? You can make fun of anyone for basically having a girlfriend until you realize you need to have a girlfriend in order to have a child, or you realize that people start snaking you because you have a child and you should be in a relationship and you're still around women. So anyone basically veering in like hypocrisy are going to get yelled at by people saying, well, you know, then break up or give your child away if you think that's funny or you think that's wrong. Or like I say, keep your family. Oh no, all this stuff, have an abortion. That is a statement for another day, but you're going to see that the simplicity of, yeah, you know, you meet a girl, you procreate, you work with her, you're nice to her, she's nice back, you're nice to her, she says, hey, what's up? You high five, you court her, you're nice to her, you gain her trust. Then you start dating or whatever, and you start veering into a real relationship, and then you court that person until you so-called trust that person to, quote, marry them for the rest of your life. But so for high school and for middle school, what you're going to see is like my initial decision was to be universal. So I don't appreciate the hypocrisy in my generation, but reality of the situation is I was accused of being a nice person. Now, if you look at a store, and you selling something or working inside of a store, the only way to make money is by being nice to someone. And that's why I think a lot of my generation is going to get a lot of accountability when it comes to, then you shouldn't work here then, like you're not good at your job, or like practically it's like we're staying regardless of what you think, because that's just one opinion. To be specific, this is what I'm trying to kickstart it in music. If I'm not the one to do it, someone will. And this is the reality of like people get scared, they want to have children, or they feel like, fear tends to make people make decisions to reproduce, or to be around someone that's stronger, or network around people. You have to kind of have a relationship to do it. So it's like those emotions of that are going to basically keep people in line with the narratives I have. You being true, I appreciate true. You know what I'm saying this for, why I'm saying this. True. Something that's true, right? So I'm talking about true. Some people are talking about toxic. That's their decision versus mine. Russ is a genius. So I'll explain this. Why people are like, they want to see who's going to keep spreading. I'm smarter than Mike Stud with my decisions. Russ, they're looking at Russ's business and they're like, if you I know they're saying it, and I've looked at it the same way. If you try to snake his company, two things can happen. He can either embarrass you, or two, he was right or something or whatever. But when you are on the under 30 spread, regardless of what you think, that is the predestination of a genius. So a genius means that you're as smart as whoever you think, you know what I mean? So, but I'm a prodigy too. So we have two different perspectives and two different narratives. So he took the rated R approach, or the more like this isn't TV approach. I took the more I'm going to keep rising approach. It's the same conversation of like, even if they didn't want to, I'm still the person they go to because I did it right. I'm gonna say the first time or the only way, or if it's true, it's true. If that makes sense. So it's almost like saying, because I talked about true, if something is true, it'll probably keep going for a very long time. That's the way I looked at it. Instead of being like, oh, it's just one and I have to keep going. It's like, but see how his song, when it was true, it kept going, like it's their song, or it's like it's their song they want to perform, or it's like it's their favorite song for this movie because it reminds them of something that was real, like in a movie or something. So I designed my music simply for a movie where you have the ratings, and it's like, if you can somehow stay true, you could possibly get your thing featured in a movie. And I know people can't see the outcome of decisions, but ultimately speaking, it can go on the radio, but let's say it can't get on the radio because there's competition. Let's go back to involuntary response. If I can't get into this, right, somebody else can put me on their Snapchat. Someone can put me on their YouTube channel. Someone could do a choreography of something that's true because they're able to dance to it with their hands and make a heart symbol and swoon somebody. So like, while some people think that the direction in life is to not go with TV, there is that artistic spreading through geniuses that allows you to make the same, if not more, money. And I'll just leave it at that. So the reason why doctors make a lot of money is because of reality. It's smart to see a doctor. That's really, I mean, I could, you know, take a cotton swab, but they're like, this guy's smart. You have a mom and she's like, you know, go see a doctor. I have a baby now. That's what you're going to start to see. And when they say, I don't think they're going to say it in school about like, oh, like you should listen to clean music. But when they say like, you know, it's going to start off with like, I have a baby now. That stuff. Like, I have a baby now, and like, you know, or like, here's the other one. Something they're going to give me credit for. Being alive with Mother Nature, but to be specific, that there are more people listening outside the country. I made my music specifically for the entire world, not just the United States of America. So I'm thinking about This Is Yes Girl Part 2. For Europe, women in, yes please, women in Europe, women in Dubai, women in Hollywood, women in the NFL, women in low income, wherever.
I'll just leave it here for you.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
And then you have the billionaires. So like, you're gonna see my decisions to stay true. I'm not gonna say true, to stay like cognizant that this is real time. Just instead of it being like a schedule, to just be real time. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. So the reality of a doctor is that coronavirus, people are going to want to see a doctor frequently because they got lied to. Who's the first person you go to? A doctor. Because they're smart. You see a lot of people, you just saw it, like, oh, well, we didn't know that, or oh, this is old information, oh, this is new, we need new, or we need better technology. The only people that have the technology are the doctors that are working in the best facilities. So now it's like realigning to, we want the best doctor. We don't even want to take a chance of having, you know, this sickness or something. Or when I started talking about you can, yeah, I mean, the animals, you can get all the, you know, the Black Plague, polio. I mean, it's possible. But then you look at the people that are in the laboratories, like they have money. Like, so you start thinking that intelligence is a reflection of income. So not thinking you have to go to the best school, but just being cognizant that being a doctor right now, you're going to get a flood of people who just want to see you just to talk to you or just do a checkup or whatever. Or like, you just want reassurance through a doctor.
You out of here?
Not that you should trust a doctor, you should trust what you learn in school, but the fact that sometimes the best people have the paper ready saying, I've cured all these people, or I've succeeded every time, or my success rate, or this is my resume before I got to grad school, or this is the school I went to. Like, you're going to see why everything's happening. Musically though, I just want you to see the contrast. Involuntary response is like when they said you're not going to make any money unless. Well, you're going to see a lot of people make money in the Christian department because it's involuntary response. We need more.
was riding this way, but
We need
he was at Home Depot riding this way. I don't know what happened.
God.
I think
We
he got
need,
mad
not
because I
God.
didn't
We need
stop, and I'm like,
virtue
bro, I'm not stopping.
to rise. You must
Takes
do
too
what
much
is
energy
right.
to start up again,
And so when people are already right, they continue to rise. So long term, those people are still going to make the same amount of money. It's going to take probably another generation for them to fully succeed independently, or if not signed, or through a movie, or through networking, or through shows, or through venues, or whatever. But you're going to see that, well, they keep playing their stuff in the it's a commercial. They keep playing it in the churches, like, and they can't stop or something. So you go to the doctor, you go to the dentist, right, involuntarily. You go to, you know what I mean, church, it's involuntary, and they play those things. So musically, I've done the law of attraction, and I can still spread through trueness, like through reality, real time, and also through being a genius, meaning choreography. Like that could be their best word, be a part of their resume. But that's I'm explaining involuntary response. People say, oh no, I'm not gonna. If you start saying, oh, we don't listen, is that clean? Like you start really like, oh, but we only listen to this type of music, or like that's too hard, we want soft, or like we want this type of plug-in, or we want not this type of plug-in. We would like real instruments, or we want there to be originality, or like not this sounds the same, but it's like this is his sound, we like his sound. May I get apple, please?
No, orange.
Apple.
Thank you. But yeah, that's pretty much what's going on. So just wait for like that involuntary, action. I'm gonna say it's gonna take 2 more years. We're just gonna see everything. Like, oh, that's why we was there. They're like, oh, he came out, gave you a pamphlet. He's the best doctor. That's why he gave it to you. This is the best church in the country. That's why they came out and corrected you. They're on television now. That's why they're on television. You realize, oh, that's why they're on television and not in a local beginner. You're gonna realize they're alphas on the alphas. You're gonna realize that it's involuntary. Like, there's a reason why everything happens. Peace out.